About the Caseverse. The Caseverse is your space to explore real-world business events, decode disruptions, and uncover timeless management insights. Our mission: build critical thinking, scenario analysis, strategic perspective, and sound decision-making, the foundations of leadership excellence. Each video presents a case from current business reality, distilled into clear narratives and linked to proven management frameworks. Whether you're a student, teacher, manager, entrepreneur, or thought leader, the Caseverse helps you analyze, reflect, and stay ahead with actionable insights. Here, business is not just studied, it's experienced, questioned, and reimagined. Join our community where every case holds a verse, and every verse shapes the future of business. Prasar Bharati's Waves, Navigating the OTT Landscape. Courses for discussion. The case is suitable for use in the subjects of operations management, enterprise risk management, crisis management, ethics, and corporate governance. Target audience. The case has been designed for audience encompassing MBA students, management scholars, platform strategy enthusiasts, turnaround strategy enthusiasts, entrepreneurs, business leaders, strategic thinkers, teachers, and researchers in business management. Overview of the case. Case domain. This case encompasses the domain of strategic management. Theoretical lens framework applied. This case leverages platform envelopment theory. The said frameworks can be used to analyze and interpret the scenario. Learning objectives. By the end of this case discussion, students should be able to understand how new entrants in platform markets attempt to expand by bundling related functionalities or aggregating adjacent services. Analyze the strategic choices of incumbents versus new entrants in an ecosystem where exclusivity, aggregation, and multi-homing dynamics play critical roles. Apply the logic of platform envelopment to real-world contexts in the digital media and OTT industry. Evaluate the opportunities and risks faced by a government-backed platform competing against entrenched private platforms. For a free copy of teaching note for this case, mail at thecaseverse1@gmail.com. In the rapidly evolving Indian digital media landscape, a new player has entered the arena, Waves, an OTT platform launched by Prasar Bharati, India's public broadcaster. Waves seeks to bring together a diverse bouquet of around 40 television channels at its launch, offering a mix of news, infotainment, culture, and regional programming. However, the platform's entry has sparked debates within the industry. While smaller and regional broadcasters have joined in, the Big Four private broadcasters have opted out, preferring to remain focused on their established digital platforms and exclusive distribution strategies. This case explores the competitive dynamics, strategic moves, and challenges that Waves faces as it tries to carve out a space in an already crowded OTT market, and how it attempts to bring together fragmented audiences under its umbrella. The Indian OTT market has transformed into one of the fastest-growing digital entertainment ecosystems globally. According to industry reports, the sector was valued at around $2.3 billion in 2023 and is projected to surpass $5 billion by 2027, growing at a double-digit compound annual rate. This explosive growth has been driven by the convergence of several factors: affordable data pricing initiated by Reliance Jio in 2016, the world's second-largest base of smartphone users, and a young, digitally savvy population that consumes video content at record levels. India now accounts for more than 600 million internet users, of which nearly 450 million are active video consumers, making it a fertile ground for OTT platforms. The market structure has become increasingly fragmented. Global players like Netflix and Amazon Prime Video compete alongside regional giants such as Disney Plus Hotstar, Sony Live, and ZEE5. Each platform has built unique positioning strategies. For example, Disney Plus Hotstar has captured mass audiences by pairing Bollywood and regional content with its exclusive rights to the Indian Premier League and international cricket tournaments, while Netflix emphasizes premium international shows and high-budget Indian originals. Amazon has leaned into a hybrid model, bundling Prime Video with its e-commerce and logistics services, creating a multi-service ecosystem that goes beyond entertainment. At the same time, homegrown platforms targeting specific linguistic and cultural niches, like Sun NXT in the South or Hoichoi for Bengali audiences, have carved loyal followings. This demonstrates how regional language content now accounts for over 50% of OTT consumption in India, reflecting a shift from English or Hindi-dominated markets toward vernacular inclusivity. Amidst this surge, Prasar Bharati, the public broadcaster, finds itself at a crossroads. Historically associated with Doordarshan's terrestrial reach and All India Radio's nationwide network, it has long been mandated to ensure universal access to information, culture, and education. But as linear television viewership plateaus in urban centers and younger audiences migrate to digital-first platforms, the role of a public service broadcaster cannot remain confined to legacy distribution. The launch of Waves thus comes at a time when the market is vibrant yet saturated, where differentiation is difficult but opportunities exist for a platform that can serve underserved audiences, particularly in rural and semi-urban India where digital adoption is rising but premium subscription OTTs have not fully penetrated. Strategic positioning. Waves' entry strategy emphasizes inclusivity, affordability, and cultural representation. Unlike commercial platforms that rely heavily on subscription revenue and the exclusivity of blockbuster content, Waves positions itself as an open-access aggregator for a wide spectrum of broadcasters and audiences. By securing about 40 channels at launch, Waves creates a starting point that reflects diversity, regional general entertainment channels, niche cultural programming, lifestyle segments, and news outlets, many of which are underrepresented on premium OTT platforms. This allows the service to build a distinct identity rooted in breadth rather than exclusivity. The model aligns with Prasar Bharati's historical mandate of public service broadcasting but adapts it to the realities of a digital-first environment. In a landscape where private players such as Disney Plus Hotstar or Netflix spend hundreds of crores annually on original productions and rights acquisition, Waves differentiates itself by offering a platform for smaller broadcasters who cannot sustain such investments. For instance, regional channels from states like Odisha, Assam, and Kerala, which lack standalone digital footprints, find Waves an affordable way to reach India's nearly 450 million OTT viewers. This makes Waves not merely an OTT service but also an enabler for ecosystem inclusivity. The platform's positioning also reflects sensitivity to India's consumption trends. With more than half of OTT viewership now driven by regional language content, Waves' aggregation of smaller, vernacular broadcasters is strategically significant. It taps into the growing demand for stories and formats that reflect local culture, folklore, and community-specific narratives. Unlike global platforms that struggle to scale regional content quickly, Waves can establish credibility as the natural home for diversity in language and culture. At the same time, its design as a free or low-cost service supported by advertising opens the doors to mass audiences, especially in rural and semi-urban India, where discretionary spending on subscriptions is still limited. Industry surveys suggest that only 30–35% of digital consumers in India currently pay for premium OTT subscriptions, while the rest access free or ad-supported content. Waves' positioning in this ad-supported bracket is therefore not incidental but central to its strategy, allowing it to scale without competing head-on for subscription revenue against entrenched incumbents. Through this positioning, Waves attempts to balance three objectives, serving as a public interest service aligned with Prasar Bharati's mandate, creating a viable entry point for smaller broadcasters to transition digitally, and capturing a consumer base that mainstream OTT players often overlook. Whether this balance proves sustainable will depend on execution, but as a launch proposition, it creates a differentiated value space in an otherwise crowded industry. The absence of major broadcasters, the decision by India's major private broadcasters, the so-called Big Four, Disney Plus Hotstar, Sony Live, Netflix, and Amazon Prime Video, to abstain from joining Waves reflects strategic considerations rooted in exclusivity, brand equity, and monetization models. These incumbents have invested heavily in creating proprietary content libraries, including high-budget original series, films, and live sports rights. For example, Disney Plus Hotstar's exclusive streaming rights for the Indian Premier League, IPL, alone have made it a dominant player, drawing over 25 million concurrent viewers during peak matches and generating significant subscription and advertising revenue. Similarly, Sony Live's portfolio of international sports, WWE, and regional programming, combined with original series production, anchors a loyal subscriber base. Joining Waves would require these incumbents to potentially share distribution or dilute the exclusivity of their content, which could erode competitive advantage. Exclusive access to marquee content is a key lever of differentiation and subscriber retention, and these platforms rely on it to justify both high subscription fees and advertising premiums. Multi-platform distribution via an aggregator like Waves could reduce control over pricing, user experience, and brand positioning, while also creating uncertainty in data ownership and audience insights, critical factors for targeted advertising and content strategy. Moreover, the incumbents have developed advanced technology infrastructure, personalization algorithms, and user engagement models that enhance retention and drive monetization. Waves, as a new entrant with limited technological sophistication relative to these platforms, cannot currently replicate the same level of experience, making the risk of collaboration less attractive. For high-value urban subscribers accustomed to seamless interfaces, original content, and live event exclusivity, the absence of these marquee offerings on Waves further reinforces the incumbents' decision to stay independent. This strategic abstention creates a bifurcated ecosystem. Waves caters to smaller broadcasters and underserved audiences, particularly in regional and vernacular segments, while the Big Four continue to dominate premium entertainment and sports for urban, high-value users. While this separation limits Waves' immediate ability to compete directly with incumbents, it also opens a niche opportunity for the platform to serve content segments overlooked by the Big Four, such as regional news, cultural programming, and educational content. In doing so, Waves can create its own value proposition without directly confronting well-resourced private players, a dynamic that illustrates both the constraints and opportunities of platform aggregation in a competitive OTT environment. Value creation for smaller broadcasters. For smaller broadcasters in India, establishing a standalone OTT presence is often financially and technically prohibitive. Developing a digital platform requires substantial investment in server infrastructure, content delivery networks, mobile and web app development, user interface design, and ongoing maintenance. On top of this, significant marketing spend is necessary to attract viewers in a highly competitive environment dominated by global and well-funded domestic players. Many regional and niche broadcasters simply lack the scale or capital to compete on these fronts, leaving them at risk of digital marginalization. Waves addresses these barriers by providing a ready-made distribution platform that aggregates content from multiple smaller broadcasters, enabling them to reach audiences nationwide without incurring the prohibitive costs of independent digital operations. By pooling resources under a single platform, Waves allows broadcasters to focus on content creation while leveraging Prasar Bharati's existing infrastructure, technical support, and visibility. This arrangement mirrors successful aggregation strategies in other markets, where smaller players gain scale and discoverability by collaborating on a shared digital platform. The platform also expands revenue potential for these broadcasters. While direct subscription revenue may be limited due to Waves' largely ad-supported model, access to a larger, aggregated audience opens avenues for advertising partnerships and sponsorship deals. Regional advertisers seeking to target specific linguistic or geographic segments may find Waves an attractive proposition, given its curated regional and vernacular content. Furthermore, broadcasters gain exposure to data-driven insights on viewership patterns, helping them refine content strategy, scheduling, and production priorities. Beyond financial and technical advantages, joining Waves creates opportunities for cultural and strategic impact. Smaller broadcasters, which often focus on local or community-specific programming, can reach audiences far beyond their traditional geographic footprint, preserving regional narratives and increasing engagement with culturally relevant content. This strengthens the overall media ecosystem by promoting diversity, inclusivity, and representation in the digital sphere. In essence, Waves acts as both an enabler and a multiplier for smaller broadcasters. By providing distribution, discoverability, and access to a broad and growing digital audience, the platform transforms what would otherwise be isolated, resource-constrained channels into stakeholders within a larger, cohesive ecosystem. This symbiotic relationship creates value not only for the broadcasters themselves but also for the platform and its users, highlighting the strategic potential of aggregation in a fragmented digital market. Audience dynamics. Understanding audience behavior is central to Wave's strategy, given the fragmented and diverse nature of India's OTT consumption. Indian viewers are increasingly digital-first, with more than 450 million active video streaming users as of 2023, a number projected to exceed 600 million by 2027. However, viewing patterns vary sharply across urban, semi-urban, and rural markets. Urban audiences tend to favor premium subscription-based platforms such as Netflix, Amazon Prime Video, and Disney Plus Hotstar, driven by high-quality international content, celebrity-led productions, and exclusive sports programming. In contrast, semi-urban and rural users are more cost-conscious, relying heavily on ad-supported or free streaming services and showing strong preferences for regional language content and culturally relevant programming. Regional content, in particular, has emerged as a key driver of engagement. Platforms that offer vernacular programming across languages such as Tamil, Telugu, Malayalam, Marathi, Bengali, and Kannada are experiencing significant growth, with regional language viewership now surpassing 50% of total OTT consumption in India. This presents both an opportunity and a challenge for Waves. By curating a diverse array of channels, it can capture audiences underserved by premium incumbents. However, it must also ensure discoverability and relevance across multiple linguistic and cultural segments to sustain engagement. Another aspect of audience dynamics in India is multi-homing, where viewers subscribe to or access multiple OTT platforms simultaneously. Surveys indicate that nearly 70% of Indian OTT users access more than one platform to satisfy content variety, sports coverage, or regional programming needs. This behavior underscores both the potential for aggregation platforms like Waves and the difficulty of establishing exclusive loyalty in a highly fluid market. Users may adopt Waves for regional or niche content while continuing to rely on major platforms for marquee entertainment and live sports. Furthermore, consumption is increasingly mobile-centric. Over 85% of OTT streaming in India occurs on smartphones, driven by affordable 4G and 5G connectivity and the proliferation of low-cost devices. Platforms that fail to optimize for mobile viewing, fast load times, adaptive streaming, and user-friendly interfaces risk losing engagement, particularly among younger audiences who form the largest segment of active streamers. In this context, Wave's audience strategy must balance inclusivity with usability. Its focus on aggregating smaller broadcasters and regional content aligns well with cost-sensitive and vernacular-first consumers, but the platform must also invest in personalization, recommendation algorithms, and seamless streaming experiences to compete for attention in a crowded digital landscape. The platform's success hinges on capturing habitual usage patterns, retaining daily active users, and appealing to segments overlooked by premium OTT incumbents. Competitive reactions. The launch of Waves has prompted careful observation from India's leading private OTT players, even if they have not formally engaged with the platform. Disney Plus Hotstar, for example, continues to leverage its exclusive sports broadcasting rights, particularly for the Indian Premier League, IPL, and international cricket events, which attract tens of millions of concurrent viewers. By maintaining these marquee offerings on its own platform, Hotstar ensures that its audience remains loyal and less likely to migrate to an aggregator like Waves, which currently lacks comparable content. Similarly, Sony Live has reinforced its sports-centric positioning, streaming premium tennis, football, and WWE content, while also investing in original series and regional programming. This dual approach allows Sony Live to protect its content ecosystem from potential audience fragmentation and reduces the appeal of any platform attempting to bundle smaller, niche channels. Netflix and Amazon Prime Video, though less dependent on live sports, continue to strengthen their international and Indian original content libraries, emphasizing high production value, star-led projects, and exclusive streaming rights. Their strategy centers on differentiation through premium content and global reach, creating a psychological barrier for users who associate brand prestige with quality. Such positioning inherently discourages multi-homing for audiences who prioritize marquee content, making Waves bundling less immediately compelling for urban, high-value subscribers. In addition to content strategies, these incumbents continue to invest heavily in user experience and technological innovation. Personalized recommendation engines, adaptive streaming, and mobile-first interfaces enhance stickiness and reduce the likelihood of churn to alternative platforms. Multi-device compatibility and integrations with smart TVs further strengthen their positions, creating convenience barriers that Waves will need to overcome to drive mass adoption. Marketing and promotional tactics also reflect competitive awareness. Platforms frequently bundle subscriptions with e-commerce services, Amazon Prime, or telecom offerings, Disney Plus Hotstar via Jio and Airtel, locking in audiences through ecosystem incentives rather than content alone. Such defensive strategies underscore the difficulty of entering the market as a late entrant and aggregating smaller players without facing substantial resistance from incumbents. Despite these competitive defenses, there is an implicit opportunity for Waves to occupy a complementary niche. By focusing on regional content, cultural archives, and underserved markets, Waves can attract audiences overlooked by private incumbents, while smaller broadcasters gain digital visibility. However, the effectiveness of this strategy will hinge on Waves' ability to differentiate sufficiently without directly competing against the entrenched advantages of the Big Four. Risks and challenges. Despite its promise, Waves faces significant hurdles in sustaining growth and building competitive resilience. The first and most pressing challenge lies in content quality and differentiation. Without marquee properties such as blockbuster films, premium dramas, or live sports rights, assets that anchor platforms like Disney Plus Hotstar or Sony Live, Waves risks being perceived as a secondary option for urban and high-spending consumers. Exclusive sports broadcasting, for example, has proven to be a decisive lever of audience acquisition in India, with Hotstar crossing 25 million concurrent viewers during peak cricket matches, a feat that no other platform has matched. Waves, in contrast, currently lacks such premium draws. Monetization presents another concern. India's average revenue per user, ARPU, for OTT platforms remains among the lowest globally, often less than $1.50 per month, compared with over $10 in mature markets like the United States. Subscription-driven models have struggled to scale in India, with less than 35% of digital audiences paying for OTT services. The majority gravitate toward free, ad-supported models. While this aligns with Waves' open access approach, the digital advertising market in India, though growing, is highly competitive and skewed in favor of established players such as YouTube and Meta, which together command over 60% of digital ad spending. For Waves to secure meaningful advertising revenue, it must prove its ability to deliver both scale and targeted audiences, something not easy with fragmented smaller broadcasters. User experience also represents a critical risk. Indian audiences are now accustomed to highly polished digital interfaces with advanced personalization and recommendation engines. Platforms such as Netflix and Amazon Prime Video set global benchmarks for seamless navigation, adaptive streaming, and content discovery. If Waves fails to match even a baseline level of smooth user experience, it could quickly lose traction, particularly among younger audiences who expect digital sophistication as the norm. Another structural challenge lies in audience churn. Indian OTT consumers are known to be multi-homing, subscribing to multiple services but frequently switching based on content releases, sports tournaments, or promotional offers. Industry data indicates that more than 40% of paying OTT subscribers in India cancel or change subscriptions within a year. Although Waves' ad-supported structure insulates it somewhat from churn in the subscription sense, it still faces the challenge of sustaining daily active users in an attention economy where entertainment options are abundant and loyalty is thin. Finally, the absence of the Big Four private broadcasters casts a long-term shadow over Waves' potential scale. These players not only control premium content but also command entrenched brand loyalty, extensive marketing machinery, and global standard production pipelines. Unless Waves finds a way either to incentivize their participation or to build a compelling alternative identity, it risks being locked into a niche defined by smaller broadcasters, valuable but insufficient to truly reshape the OTT landscape. Opportunities for expansion. Despite the challenges, Waves has significant room to grow by leveraging its unique positioning as a government-backed, inclusive platform. One of the most immediate opportunities lies in expanding beyond entertainment into education and knowledge dissemination. India's edtech sector, valued at over $10 billion in 2023 and projected to grow at more than 20% annually, demonstrates strong consumer appetite for digital learning content. By integrating e-learning modules, exam preparation material, or skill development programs, Waves can tap into this fast-growing segment while aligning with Prasar Bharati's public service mandate. Cultural and archival content presents another strategic avenue. Doordarshan and All India Radio together hold decades of recordings, ranging from classic television shows to regional music, folk performances, and historical documentaries. Digitizing and making these archives accessible through Waves could differentiate the platform in ways that private OTTs, focused primarily on commercial content, cannot easily replicate. Such content not only enhances cultural value but also attracts niche audiences seeking heritage and educational programming. Waves could also explore partnerships with state governments, educational institutions, and cultural ministries. For example, collaboration with the Ministry of Education or National Council of Educational Research and Training, NCERT, could allow the platform to host school curricula, supplementary learning resources, or educational campaigns. Partnerships with state broadcasters or regional content producers could strengthen its foothold in vernacular markets, which are currently underserved by mainstream OTT players. Additionally, there is potential to enhance the platform's user engagement by integrating hybrid models that combine live channels with on-demand content. This dual approach can cater to both traditional television viewers transitioning to digital and younger audiences accustomed to streaming flexibility. Coupled with ad-supported or freemium models, this strategy can broaden reach while creating multiple monetization pathways, including targeted advertising, sponsorships, and limited subscription offerings for premium content bundles. Finally, Waves' government backing offers a credibility advantage, enabling promotional campaigns that highlight public interest programming, social awareness content, and inclusive storytelling. By positioning itself as the platform for everyone, Waves can capitalize on segments of the population that are underserved by commercial OTTs, particularly rural, semi-urban, and regional audiences where internet penetration is rising but premium subscription adoption remains low. Through these initiatives, Waves has the opportunity to evolve from a platform of necessity for smaller broadcasters into a comprehensive digital ecosystem that blends education, culture, and entertainment while staying true to its public service ethos. Long-term implications. The launch of Waves raises significant questions about the evolving structure of India's digital media ecosystem and the role of public sector platforms in a market dominated by commercial incumbents. Over the long term, Waves' success could influence both the content strategies of smaller broadcasters and the competitive behavior of larger OTT platforms. By providing an aggregation platform for regional and niche channels, Waves has the potential to reshape audience expectations, particularly among rural and semi-urban viewers who currently have limited access to vernacular and culturally specific programming. From a broader industry perspective, the platform could accelerate the shift toward regional content consumption, which already accounts for more than 50% of total OTT viewing in India. This shift has strategic implications for private incumbents who may need to recalibrate investments in regional originals or consider partnerships with public or smaller players to maintain audience reach. Additionally, Waves could serve as a testing ground for new content formats, hybrid delivery models, and integrated services such as e-learning or civic engagement, providing valuable data on user behavior and preferences. The platform's public sector backing also carries policy-level implications. Successful adoption of Waves could validate government intervention in the digital media space as a complement to commercial offerings, particularly for underserved segments. It may encourage further digitization of educational, cultural, and historical content, while also promoting media diversity and inclusivity. Conversely, if Waves fails to scale or sustain engagement, it may reinforce perceptions that government-backed platforms cannot compete effectively against resource-rich private incumbents, especially in markets where premium content and technological sophistication drive user loyalty. Finally, the interplay between Waves and the Big Four incumbents highlights a critical dynamic of the OTT ecosystem: the tension between aggregation and exclusivity. While Waves leverages aggregation to offer breadth, the incumbents' focus on exclusive, high-value content reinforces the value of differentiation. Over time, the outcome of this tension will determine whether Waves evolves from a niche aggregator into a meaningful competitor, or whether it remains a complementary service catering primarily to smaller broadcasters and cost-conscious audiences. Its trajectory will also provide insights into how public and private platforms can coexist in multi-layered digital media markets where audience segmentation, language diversity, and access disparities shape competitive advantage. Conclusion: Prasar Bharati's Waves represents a strategic effort to navigate India's rapidly growing yet highly competitive OTT market by leveraging its public broadcaster mandate and infrastructure. In its early phase, Waves has aggregated around 40 channels, primarily smaller and regional broadcasters, thereby creating a bundle that is unique in breadth and inclusivity. This approach reflects the essence of a platform attempting to extend into an adjacent market. It leverages existing relationships with content providers and audiences to offer value that is otherwise unavailable on commercial OTT platforms. The launch comes at a time when India's OTT industry is projected to surpass $5 billion by 2027, driven by increasing smartphone penetration, affordable mobile data, and a growing appetite for digital video content. However, the market is dominated by a few incumbents: Disney+ Hotstar, Sony Live, Amazon Prime Video, and Netflix, that maintain strong brand equity, exclusive content, and extensive technological infrastructure. Waves' strategy of aggregation positions it to serve the underserved segments of rural and semi-urban India, regional language audiences, and niche content consumers, aligning with Prasar Bharati's public service mandate. From a theoretical perspective, Waves illustrates key principles of platform envelopment. By bundling smaller channels into a single platform, it seeks to extend its reach into a market adjacent to traditional broadcasting. Smaller broadcasters benefit from reduced distribution costs, increased visibility, and access to a digital audience that they could not reach individually. Meanwhile, the Big Four incumbents have adopted defensive strategies, retaining exclusivity over marquee content, investing in original productions, and optimizing user experience to shield themselves from potential envelopment. This dynamic highlights how envelopment strategies succeed when a platform can leverage cross-site network effects and bundled offerings, but face limitations when incumbents control high-value, differentiated assets. The long-term success of Waves will depend on multiple factors: its ability to enhance content quality, improve user experience, monetize effectively through advertising or hybrid revenue models, and scale beyond niche audiences will determine whether it remains a supplementary platform or evolves into a significant player. Strategic expansion into education, cultural archives, and hybrid on-demand live content can strengthen its value proposition while differentiating it from commercial OTT incumbents. In essence, Waves' journey exemplifies both the promise and challenges of platform envelopment in a real-world context. While aggregation offers a mechanism to create value for multiple stakeholders, the presence of well-resourced incumbents with exclusive content highlights the competitive friction inherent in such strategies. Waves' trajectory will provide valuable lessons for policymakers, digital strategists, and media scholars on how public sector platforms can enter and compete in digital ecosystems dominated by private incumbents. About the case author. Dr. KBS Kumar is an award-winning management author and educator with over 100 published case studies across business domains and more than 20 international accolades in case writing. A seasoned trainer and mentor, he has guided corporate leaders, academics, and students in mastering case writing and case-based learning, blending academic rigor with practical insights. Through the Caseverse, Dr. Kumar transforms real-world business events into engaging case studies, powerful resources for classrooms, corporate training, managerial development, and strategic thinking. Passionate about nurturing critical and analytical skills, his work bridges theory and practice, offering timeless lessons for navigating today's complex business world.